Coming up on A View from the Mountains.
I'm shouting to anyone who will listen that what we're facing in Western North Carolina is a Katrina-type situation.
We spent a week in the mountains catching up with people we met here 4 years ago.
When you look around, I mean, this would be 28 feet of water above us right now. I mean, places that never flooded did.
To see how they survived Helene.
I'm numb. I'm just numb.
And how their communities will try to recover and rebuild.
I don't even know what to say. Is that a train that destroyed your brewery?
Devastated by flooding, but a mountain spirit keeping their future afloat.
It makes me want to do more for my community.
Welcome to A View from the Mountains. I'm Tim Boyum. If you watch Front Porch Politics, you know it's about everyday North Carolinians and the communities that they love. What you may not know is it started with A View from the Mountains 4 years ago. That's right, this is where it all started. So 4 years later, after the destruction from Helene, we wanted to come back and reunite with the 5 people that we met to see how they are doing and how their communities are doing. We start just a few ridges over.
Before we crossed that ridge, in the weeks after the storm, as the water receded, the weather was stunning. 70 degrees and clear skies.
I think Mother Nature's apologizing to us. She was so mean to us that I think this last 3 weeks has almost been an apology for being so mean to us.
But it doesn't take long to realize something's different. The peaceful sound of water in fall leaf season, drowned out by the sounds of machines moving debris. We were also struck by the wide array of emotions, some seemingly still in shock.
The weirdest thing about this whole stressful situation is I haven't even cried.
While others are constantly holding back tears.
Yeah.
A region full of contradictions at the moment, beauty in one direction, destruction in another. An uncertain future, yet certainty a future can exist, if they just stick together.
Good to see you, man.
How you doing?
Good.
Larry Smith, a lifelong Avery County man trying to comprehend a life-changing storm.
The landscape of Western North Carolina has been changed forever in my lifetime.
A river here separates the road from his Christmas tree crop. It took 7 days to reach it.
That's a truck that was here?
Yeah, they were lodged all against, there was debris over our head here. Trees, vehicles, campers. You couldn't even see the bridge. We didn't even know if it was actually still sitting on the foundations or not. There's just so much debris.
That had been just wild to see.
The crushed campers and mangled trucks came from a campground not far upstream. Larry mourns the lives lost there, but he knows he has a job at hand. His crop survived, and there's a job to be done. It's go time for Christmas tree farmers.
It'd be the most challenging harvest that I've ever been part of. Just trying to get the roads in shape before we can get the stuff out. But that's what we do as farmers. We just make sure that the job gets done and go on to the next day.
We first met Larry back in 2020.
Fraser Firs considered the Cadillac of Christmas trees.
One of Larry's trees was the official White House tree in 2018.
When the president walked into the room, there was a gasp.
Larry's a legend in these parts, but it's his unfiltered authenticity that draws you in, down to sharing even the most embarrassing moments from the White House and his grandson.
Right literally inside the front door where the hallway goes from the east room to the west room, he threw up red Gatorade in chunks right on the floor. My son didn't know whether to stuff it back down his throat, let it go on the floor, and it's like the Beverly Hillbillies has made it to the White House.
Since that visit, we've met up with Larry countless times. His roots go deeper than these Christmas trees, 6 generations back, and he's so deeply connected. He's helping us navigate a tough time here in Avery County. Our recent visit came in late October during early voting. Larry introduced us to Dawn Avery.
We were very blessed because we didn't lose our life. We lost everything we had.
You heard that right. She lost everything. and it happened right before our eyes.
Finally, we left and we went up to the highway and we sat in our truck. And we had sump pumps in our basement and it was pumping it out until it just couldn't do anymore.
4 feet of water and mud filled their home of 38 years. Tractors and trucks from the farm floated right by them.
What was that like to watch? I mean, your life literally
Yeah.
float by.
Well, first of all, you're kind of just in shock and you kind of think, surely it will stop. And then, at that point when we realized it was, it was too far gone, I mean, yeah, you cry and I bet we didn't speak 20 words.
Yet here she was, a few weeks later, without a home, casting her ballot.
It's a given right. And why people won't go vote is beyond me. So people can complain and say, Hoover's not doing their job, but if you don't have you have a right to vote, that's your voice. So, yeah, we're gonna vote and get on with life, and it is what it is at this point.
Minutes later, John Noche pulled up, an elections field specialist for the state board. He helps county boards with small staffs in the western part of the state.
Friday we lost power, Saturday we lost water, and the state board's trying to call me to check on my counties.
With little gas in his car, he literally took drastic steps to get to work.
So I walked there to the office. That was about 4 miles, and then I walked home because remember, I didn't stop for gas on Thursday. So I was like,
4 miles to go to work.
Yeah, well, I'm training for a marathon, full disclosure. So I was like, if I can't walk 4 miles, I got no business doing the marathon.
But that was nothing compared to some colleagues.
I've got one director in this region that lost everything. And the fact that he, could put that aside, compartmentalize, and be able to, find alternate sites, find another way of going about this was just, it was so admirable and inspiring, honestly. I don't know how he did it.
It would take a week to finally reach Yancey County officials. The gravity of the moment catching up to him during our chat.
It was the well-being of the people. It was trying to juggle, how do I survive? and help them at the same time.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back to a view from the mountains, we continue this story. Then we head to Old Fort, to an old friend seeing devastation for the first time. Welcome back to A View from the Mountains. I'm Tim Boyum. We now head to Old Fort, where they've had devastating damage. We're going to meet with an old friend, a mayor there, who's going to see some of this destruction for the very first time.
I'm numb. I'm just numb.
Marion Mayor Steve Little is not the mayor of Old Fort, but this tiny town holds a big place in his heart.
Oh, this area we're going to is very important to me.
A half-century of research along these historic rails.
Asheville was nothing but a pig path until the railroad got there.
But Aline's destruction might wash away history and prevent Mayor Little from the justice he seeks.
They died working. When they died working, they were buried beside the track.
10 miles separate Marion and Old Fort on I-40.
You've been mayor for 15 years.
15 years.
Have you had to deal with anything even remotely close to this?
Nothing remotely like this.
If you know Steve Little, you know he deeply cares for the mountains and its people. We were barely on the highway when things got emotional.
This was a mom and 3 small children. They live in Old Fort. They were in a mobile home, in a small mobile home park in downtown Old Fort.
As the floodwaters quickly rose, they escaped to a Hardee's in Old Fort, but then had to be rescued by a boat from there. As they entered the boat, they saw their life float by.
They saw their mobile home get pushed off and float down the street in front of them. That was their home, everything they owned.
As we pull off the highway into Old Fort, the dirt and dust covers the road and fills the air, oddly reminiscent of the earliest days in Old Fort.
This was the spot where is the spot where the Piedmont meets the mountains. And this is the spot where the Western North Carolina Railroad Mountain Division started right here at Old Fort to climb up the Blue Ridge Escarpment to take the train into the rest of the mountains and therefore the rest of North Carolina.
Our first stop, a 2-story yellow house Mayor Little knows well.
What is that?
It's desolation is what it is.
The Mountain Gateway Museum offices, where his journey to history began, a journey that started a half-century ago.
I'm going back to that Swananoa Tunnel.
3,000 convicts, yeah.
And a large majority of them were former slaves.
Probably 98% were former slaves.
We first met Mayor Little in late 2020. A story about his quest for justice for convicts forced to help build the Western North Carolina Railroad under grueling conditions in the late 1800s. At least 135 died.
Those who were old enough to remember probably would have thought slavery was terrible, but this is worse.
He's helped build memorials.
I keep thinking, I think I see him starting to sit.
And he was there as human remains detection dogs sniff for potential remains.
Those convicts, those men, those humans were just tossed in a hole. These convicts were not acknowledged. They were not appreciated. They were treated like tools. But we're changing that today.
But today, he's heard that sacred ground might have been washed away by Helene. It's where we are headed next.
Asheville Junction, Swananoa Tunnel.
So where are we going now?
We're going now to Mill Creek Road, which leads to Andrews Geyser.
Mayor Little's seen pictures of railroad tracks washed out where the former slaves and convicts were tossed into those holes.
This is about 4 times wider than it was before the hurricane.
But as we approached, Mayor Little realized damaged roads would prevent us from getting there.
Oh my gosh.
But then, something caught my eye. Down a steep embankment,
Look.
something that's hard to describe in words.
I cannot even imagine what I'm looking at.
Railroad tracks looking more like a twisted roller coaster ride.
I'm numb. I'm just numb.
Rails suspended in the air as the earth underneath simply washed away.
You've seen images like this further down where the convicts did build.
Yes.
Which means that there's possibility that remains were washed away from these convicts that helped build this area.
It is possible. So many places along this railroad is a graveyard because convicts who died in the process of working for whatever reason, whether it was a cave-in, an errant sledgehammer, maybe an intentional sledgehammer, when they died working, they were buried beside the track in spots that were just, they dug a hole, put the body in, covered it up, maybe paused for 15 seconds, and then the guard boss man would have said, back to work.
Marking the importance of Steve Little's research to preserve the memory, even if remains were indeed washed away.
This was not harmed at all. No floods, no wind is going to harm that one.
Our day fittingly ended by this boulder.
That Swananoa Tunnel.
A memorial to honor 19 convicts who died at a cave-in inside the Swananoa Tunnel in 1879. Mayor Little had one last story about a woman he met when the governor toured nearby damage. The woman simply asked if he wanted to talk, recognizing the pain in his eyes.
I thought, okay, she's asked, she seems genuine. So I began to talk with her about things I'd heard, things I'd seen that were just gripping and unsettling and made me want to throw up. And as I was telling her, I broke down and started to cry. And she came over and she gave me a great big bear hug, and she held me firmly for 30 seconds. And it felt good. that felt calming, that felt reassuring.
He didn't know until later, but that woman was the head of FEMA.
Feeling her level of concern and compassion gave me a tremendously good feeling that someone with that level of interest and concern over one person in a small town in the mountains of North Carolina, if that's who's in charge of FEMA, that's great.
Amidst the angst and accusations against FEMA, a moment of humanity Steve Little will forever remember.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we head into Asheville, Beer City, USA, facing some troubled times. Welcome back to A View from the Mountains. I'm Tim Boyum. We head into Asheville now, Beer City, USA. It's a huge part of the tourism there too. But with the destruction from Helene, there's a lot of question about the future of this all-important industry. The pristine water of our precious mountains helped brew Asheville's beer industry.
They came for the water, the big guys like Sierra and New Belgium and White Labs.
But that same water now putting the industry in peril thanks to Helene.
Well, I mean, not everybody is going to make it, so there's some hard truths with that.
Some dreams literally crushed.
I don't even know what to say. Is that a train that destroyed your brewery?
Yeah, there's a train car on our bar top.
Despite the destruction, they are somehow thankful and hopeful.
It's a town of service industry workers or people who were once service industry workers. And those people take care of each other. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's weeks now after the hurricane, and people are still filling up at Highland Brewing. Not for beer, but water.
My first day back, I got through and you had to check in with a guy down at the end of the driveway.
Chelsea Carmichael helped organize Highland's supply drive that overtook their property that was largely unharmed by the storm.
Hey, I'm Leah Ashburn, President and CEO of Highland Brewing Company here in Asheville, North Carolina. Our community is suffering, and we cannot brew beer, but we can ship beer.
The Highland team documented the efforts on social media.
So I'm here in our packaging hall, and behind me you can see some of the supplies that have come in. These are all actually highway patrol relief supplies.
It helped them to help others, but the weight of it is settling in.
So it was kind of hearing the same things. Like, it's just people like from, oh, I lost all of my food in my fridge to, I literally don't have a house. Like, I need everything. And it's so like, I'm gonna like get emotional.
We started getting requests because everybody knows, lots of people know that we have a big building.
We stopped at Highland because it was here we met Leah Ashburn and her dad 4 years ago.
We're in the alley where we started our business.
Oscar Wong's known as the godfather of Asheville craft beer, opening up in 1994, eventually sitting side by side with the big boys that moved into town.
I was terrified. I thought, oh no, it's bad enough to have the ankle biters, but to have the 500-pound gorilla show up, said, what are we going to do? Well, the upshot of it is that we had to up our game or get run over.
Today, his daughter leads the brewery. Despite very little damage, Helene will hurt their bottom line big time.
It hurt our business a lot. So October in Asheville, leaf peeping season, and it is everybody's biggest month. We lost every private event that we do. So corporate business, lots of weddings, parties, just all of the things, all of the tourism that comes to Asheville in the fall. So that's still really painful, and we have not brewed yet.
Brewing has since started, but challenges remain. Still, it's nothing compared to what some other breweries are facing. Brian Fedding's literally picking up the pieces.
So what makes you come back and keep looking for this stuff then?
I mean, you go to work every day.
New Origin Brewery sits right along the Swannanoa River. We are sitting on the literal and figurative foundation of the brewery. They prepped for flooding with sandbags, knowing 15 feet was likely.
We thought we'd still have a building, but we would have a lot of water. But when my stomach really sank was definitely that morning, realizing that those projections, even those weren't going to hold. It was, we're talking 27 plus feet.
Anxiety and curiosity took over. He had to find out what happened.
I came on Saturday night, and it was probably 10 o'clock. It was really dark, so I just had a flashlight. But it was a war zone. I mean, there was active fires over here. There was just the constant hiss of punctured propane tanks. I was down here with the flashlight and looking around. What I didn't realize was that there was, a lot of fatalities in the area. And in this immediate vicinity, there was 12 bodies recovered.
So what did you think when you first saw this? I don't even know what to say. Is that a train that destroyed your brewery?
Yeah, there's a train car on our bar top.
A propane tanker bellied up to the bar, still intact.
So our front door was right here, and then this is where everyone would come in.
Here's what the brewery looked like before, and here's what it looks like now.
Was it shocking or just numb?
Probably more numb.
We noticed, time after time, as the conversation got tough, Brian would take a sip of water, holding back tears as shock and uncertainty consume him.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. This is your life.
The stories are hard to comprehend, even seeing it in person.
Our tap tower that had all the faucets and handles on it, that was about a mile down the river in a tree.
Sadly, it's not just New Origin. Breweries all around Asheville were hit hard.
We drove all the way to my boyfriend's bar by like 1:30, 2 o'clock. Parking lot is Class 2 Whitewater Rapids.
That's Karis Roberts. She leads the Asheville Brewers Alliance. She showed us more than 6 pictures of breweries devastated by the floods. At one point, she was on a bridge where people gathered to make sure friends were safe. They also saw firsthand the power of water.
It was just really, really scary. We watched a tractor trailer just float down the river and pow into, it's not Bowen Bridge, but one of the bridges right there.
Losing breweries would not just hurt owners and enthusiasts, it would hurt Asheville. A 2019 study found the industry contributes almost $1 billion to the metro area economy, creates 3,500 jobs, and is the second largest manufacturing employer in Asheville.
Looks like a few mugs down there.
Back at New Origin, Brian Fetting comes out here day after day.
Some of them made it through.
He pulls out mugs full of mud and an intact 4-pack of beer. His days are filled with this, and on the phone, desperate for help.
The hope is that some form of assistance comes in where that can bridge that gap between this and a business that's operating, a business that can support employees and families and get back to what we were doing. It seems almost selfish to hope for that, but we do. We hope there's some path.
What do you mean selfish? Is that like a survivor's guilt thing?
Sure, a little. Yeah, there's so much going on that, like, for us to think about our business is maybe a little selfish, but we certainly are. We want to not only put food on our tables, but our employees as well.
Even breweries who avoided damage are facing tough decisions with a huge drop in business during the area's most important time of year.
No brewery is too big to fail. So we all need to watch what we're doing all the time, and making beer was not as profitable as it used to be even before this storm. So yeah, the math is tough, and we're taking the best care we can of our staff.
I think one of the hardest calls that I've had to take is a brewery saying that they weren't going to reopen.
Karis Roberts says these breweries need loans similar to loans small businesses received during the pandemic.
Well, not everybody is going to make it, so there's some hard truths with that.
Normally breweries, like I was saying back there, all have each other's backs. And this is one of the first events that's made it really hard to have each other's backs, because it's like a survival mode.
That's why, when you can and where it's safe, these breweries, these communities, need all of us to visit now and in the years ahead.
It's a little piece of our label there.
Brian Fetting just hopes his brewery will be one of them, somewhere, somehow.
Just having an understanding of, will we be in the brewery business after this? Is a big part of that. If there was, you know, a magic wand that said like, hey, you will be, then I think that would take a big weight off. But right now that there's so much uncertainty there that's really that cloud that hangs above us.
We have to take a quick break. When we come back, we head to Canton, a town that keeps getting knocked down, but finding a way to fight back.